Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. Okay, today in the private group, you can go to daixrp.com, which is the Patreon, or you can click the join button right below any of my YouTube videos if you'd rather join through YouTube, or click the subscribe on X. Today, everything in my feed is all about who, the island guy. Well, we don't talk about the island guy out here, but we can talk about him in Patreon. But the one thing that's never in focus in regard to the island guy is the cryptocurrency ties. And so that's what I'm going to show you, because I've always thought that it had everything to do with Bitcoin. And I'll show you what I'm talking about as far as hiding the money and that kind of stuff. Okay, we have an XRP that's a little bit on the move today. We're at 284.85-ish right now. This week is crypto week. Everybody's getting excited about legislation passing. You can feel it, folks. Here's a good little reminder from Brad Garlinghouse in front of Congress this week.
Ripple leverages the XRP ledger, a decentralized, battle-tested, open-source blockchain, as well as its native digital asset, XRP, to facilitate payments. XRP is built to enable fast, low-cost, and highly scalable transactions. From the start, Ripple made the deliberate choice to work with policymakers and regulators, not around them. We have taken a compliance-first approach, operating with over 60 payment, service, crypto, and money transmitter licenses domestically and globally. With regard to the topic of this hearing, we believe smart legislation should be based on several core principles. Consumers need protection from fraud and scams. Markets need proper oversight. Bad actors need to be kept in check. And innovation must thrive. A constructive and workable framework for digital assets and stablecoins that achieves these goals will expand access to financial markets, create jobs, strengthen the economy, and put the U.S. on the path to being a global blockchain and crypto leader.
Okay, look at this from Paul Barron, expecting new information this week. Ripple applied for U.S. National Bank Charter with the OCC. Ripple will become the first federally licensed crypto firm under the Genius Act. And then here is Senator Cynthia Lummis.
Now, the goal, of course, of all of this is to make America the crypto capital of the world. And I can say no lawmaker on Capitol Hill has done as much as to make that a reality as my next guest, Senator Cynthia Lummis. And Senator, I got to tell you, it's been absolutely phenomenal. I just want to ask, could you have imagined the speed and the breadth of this crypto acceptance on Capitol Hill just a year ago from where we are now?
Charles, I couldn't. We were working with a banking committee that hadn't put a piece of legislation out in 7 years. And here in year 8, we put out the Genius Act and got it past the Senate. We have the House putting out market structure legislation, in addition to legislation to prevent central bank digital currency. This is big stuff, and it's been a long time coming. This industry is maturing. The time is now.
All right, the time is now. Look at this. This is from Crypto Insight UK. Let's go down to this part. If we were able to replicate the same structure, we could see XRP rise more slowly with Bitcoin taking the lead, especially with Bitcoin getting headlines. Then could XRP really outperform during the next 20 days once Bitcoin starts to slow down a bit? If this move turns out to be more explosive than the last one, where does this take us? This is why I've been calling for $8 to $12 range for XRP in the next leg. Personally, I believe it'll hit $11 or higher. I think people are underestimating it with the $8 target. So that's where I see potential for the next move. Previous move took XRP from 70 cents to 270. I believe this one will be even more aggressive. So do I. And then this gem from XRP.
主流体もアラの関連商品、それから暗号資産、リップルの XRP、リップルの XRP は、この間向こうの CEO のステートメント見てると、何週間かで裁判所の結論が出ると彼は考えてるみたいです。結論が出てリップルの XRP がコインだということになると、これは大変な値段になると思います。我々外部の筆頭株主ですから、大変なキャピタルゲイン、売ればキャピタルゲインでリアライズされますけど、売れなくても相当なものになるだろうというふうに評価上ですね思ってます。多分結論がポジティブに出ればすぐにマネジメントは株式公開に踏み切るというふうに思います。
Yep, he's expecting a high price once the case is over. So do I. Chad Steingraber's all over the heat map for Upbit. When it triggers, billions can flood within the hour. I've shown this all week. Now, here's two great clips I wanted you to see. This is about, remember how Brad Garlinghouse called XRP like a beach ball held underwater?
You've got the token, the XRP token sitting there. Like, it feels from a lot of what you're describing, even saying those early moves that Ripple, the company, made, like Ripple is setting itself up to be an absolute monster here, like almost an empire of that's covering all of these areas. Do people feel, or is there a risk that the people who were the long-term supporters through the XRP token get left behind if they manage to pull this off, which it appears they're doing, and effectively conquer the world?
Yeah, well, you've still got all these assets that need to run on the blockchain. The blockchain is powered by the XRP token. So, the protocol is still where the value is. And, like I think Glenn Hutchins from former New York Fed and formerly, I don't know if he's still with Grayscale back in the days of Barry Silbert, he famously said, that the price is a distraction, the value is in the protocol. Now, if Ripple aren't building this protocol out to promote the XRP ledger and the use of the XRP token, well, I'm not here. I know that they constantly come out with the FUD saying, people go, oh, it's just going to be RLUSD and the XRP is going to be left behind. It's not. It needs to run on something. It runs on something that provides, So I know people can get frustrated. The price moves sideways. The price moves sideways for years. Stuck at 22 cents. And now we seem to be stuck at $2.22. Well, that's not so much a big problem. That's kind of cool. But
where it was, yeah.
You're not going to argue. But look, it does have room to go. And look, I think as this space matures, we start to understand that financial products, they're a lot more complex than just payments. Okay, so there's a lot of other things they're going to tap in here. A lot of DeFi products, a lot of other Wall Street central bank products and treasury functions and all this sort of stuff. The Ripple, if they do get it, can access in and absolutely turbocharge what the XRP ledger has always been capable of. And I mean, we haven't even discussed the decentralized exchange, the DEX that lives in the XRP ledger and has since day one. Yep. So, we're swapping assets to assets in a decentralized way. Hasn't been used anywhere near where it should have been, and maybe that starts to wake up as well with other assets moving on it, which could be tokenized treasuries, could be anything if they do get this banking license. But yes, the XRP community has felt a little kind of, well, that's another good news. Normally when you have good news, normally the price goes down. It's just weird, but like a beach ball underwater, you keep pumping that thing full of good news gas, eventually it's going to explode through the surface, and I think we're positioned for that.
All right, there's another clip here. I'm not going to play this clip, but you can go on my X and see it. He's got another great, I'll read his quote here. It just seems that things are really starting to line up and launch in a very major way. Interoperable, trusted, liquidity on tap, central banks connected, and the back end for wholesale. It's just really, really stunning. So if you can tell, I'm getting a little excited. So am I. Now, I also wanted you to see this clip. This is great. I don't know who this guy is. I agree with some of it. Maybe you don't agree with some of it. In terms of, he's talking here in terms of not selling XRP at all and leveraging it. I plan to do that with the majority of my XRP, but I've been here a long time, so I probably will sell at some point. But listen, it's interesting to listen to what he's got to say.
For those of you that are XRP holders, Ripple, XRP, XLM, HBAR, do not sell your product. Do not sell your units. Hold a minimum of 10,000 units on a cold storage inside of an irrevocable private trust. That qualifies you to be able to become a private banker. We teach this process. You'll be grandfathered into the new system. That way, you don't sell. You leverage, collateralize, and put everything on the blockchain. You tokenize all your assets, your resources, your homes, your business, everything gets tokenized. This way you never have to sell. And if you don't sell, you're constantly growing. For the young guys out there and the young girls, these new crypto millionaires, do not sell. Selling is the worst possible thing you can do with an XRP, and here's why. There are two sides to this game. There are the deep state side, the BIS, Bank of International Settlements, along with all the rest of the private central banks. And then there's our side, the private central bank that's standing up for the people. And we know how to play this game. We've been working on it now for a long time. If you sell your XRP when the price bumps, you're going to cause a problem. The moment that you sell, you're putting those XRPs back into that open market, and the other side are going to get them. They're going to scoop them up. That's how the game is going to be played. You leverage that shit. You do not sell it.
Now, you do have to wonder, just think about it for a minute. You've never been able to get, until recently, you haven't been able to get like institutional custody as a retail holder. You haven't been able to get interest on XRP. It's almost like a lot of things have been being held back so that when this thing turns on and the price finally starts moving, it's almost like this was all that they intentionally held back some of this stuff so that you would sell and they could scoop it all up just in time for some of these things to be turned on, like getting interest. And then the big boys would win in that scenario if everybody unloaded all. And I'm sure most of retail is going to unload, I would say probably by $8 to $10.
If you give them control over that XRP, over the Ripple network, you've lost the game completely. If you hold it and play the game like we do, you have a chance at freeing all of the people around the world from the debt slavery system. I can promise you that. And over the next coming weeks, you'll see many people become millionaires overnight. Be prepared for the transfer, but for those of you that need proper education, come check us out, come see us. We'll explain this process to you because you need an education on how the financial system actually works on the international level, not this bullshit just FX trading. There's a lot more going on behind the scenes with Ripple and XRP than most of you are even aware. Over the next couple of weeks, there's going to be thousands of new millionaires created, and they are going to panic, they're going to get excited, and they're going to start dumping their XRP, and they're all going to think that they're rich and super young punks buying a bunch of toys, and then they're going to end up with taxable events with houses and cars, and that's where they get you, because you don't know how to play the game properly.
Okay, we're going to go into DAIXRP.com, the Patreon. If you'd rather join through YouTube, click join right below this, any of my videos, or you can subscribe through X. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Away we go.